let's take an unconventional look at penalty corners and how they're defended. In outdoor hockey, what we typically see is the entire defensive team taking up positions inside the goal. Sometimes there's a player just to the outside of one side or the other. In high school field hockey in the USA, sometimes when the ball is inserted from here, the players take up, let's call it position A, and then if the team switches to this side, all of these players switch around to take up position B. We don't see that at other levels because typically the defense just takes up the position that they're taking, and it doesn't matter whether the ball is inserted from the goalkeeper's right side or the goalkeeper's left side, or as umpires, the near side for the umpire. This is the non-traditional side for a penalty corner insertion, simply because fewer teams do it. If most teams did it from this side, then this would be called the non-traditional side. As everybody knows, there's a measure of 5 meters from the goal post to the first mark, and another 5 from the first mark to the second mark. So a total here of 5, or 10. In high school in the USA, this 5 and this 5 are yards and not meters, so it's slightly smaller. That leaves on a 16-yard circle another 6 yards out here. And let me just erase that. Now what the rules state is that not more than 5 defenders, including the goalkeeper or player with goalkeeping privileges, if there is one, must be positioned behind the back line with their sticks, hands, and feet not touching the ground inside the field. The high school rule, almost identical. It says a maximum of 5 defenders, including the goalkeeper, which is required in high school, including the goalkeeper, shall be behind the back line with their sticks, hands, and feet not touching the ground inside the circle. And the rest of the team is down at the center line. It doesn't say that the defenders have to be inside the circle or in closer proximity to the goal than the penalty corner insertion mark. And so, what that means, and what umpires shouldn't be surprised by, is if a team decided to defend in an unorthodox or non-traditional manner. So let's say that the goalkeeper is inside the goal, and let's give them a player on their right and left. So that's 3 of the 5. Let's put another defender out here. We might see, and let's say that this is where the insertion is coming from, we might see that 5th defender lining up out here, just inside the circle, 5 yards or 5 meters away. That's perfectly legal. It might be unorthodox. It might even be foolish. But I'm not certain, actually, because this, of course, is the strong side of this player. And if the ball were to be inserted to the near side player, then this is a great position for this defender to be in. And if it were to be put into a traditional insertion up towards the top of the circle, then this player is following along the path of the ball with the ball on their stick side. The point is, however, as we look at this, let me just clear the board. If we were the umpire, we would make no change to this. In fact, this person, if they wanted to, now this would be crazy, they could come out here. They don't have to be inside the confines of the circle. So they might be here, or they might be here. Obviously, there can't be more than one of them, as we're only allowed 5 defenders who must be behind, what's the rule say, behind the back line. And that's the same rule as I just read, in high school and at every other level of the game. So what do we do as an umpire? Normally, if the insertion was taking place on this non-traditional side, you might see the umpire located here. In this case, though, if there were a defender over here, then it would probably be best to align yourself outside of that player, and when the ball gets inserted, wherever the ball happens to go, then come in to close proximity to the goal line. And by the way, of course, it is completely legal, regardless of whether the insertion is coming from this mark or this, for the defender to take up a position on this side, or if they had a really bad coach, they might be told to come from over here. It just would be a really bad coaching decision. So it doesn't matter which side the ball is being inserted on, and it also doesn't matter which side the defense takes up. It just has to be that the defenders are behind the back line, as it says in all rule books. Now there's something else I want to cover very briefly while we're talking about penalty corners. I've seen this mistake happen when umpires who are used to officiating high school games in the USA get an opportunity to go up to the college level. In a high school game, the insertion has to take place 10 yards from the goalpost on either side. The only reason that the ball can be inserted from further away from the goalpost than 10 yards is if there is some sort of damage at the insertion point marked by the little lines. Then the attack is allowed to move it further. And let's say they have to come all the way out here or all the way out here. Then it's legal in high school to move it. At all other levels of the game, the ball only has to be at least 10 meters from the goal and not further than the circle line. So if a team wants to, they can take all of their insertions from right here or any place in between the 10-yard, 10-meter mark and that point. It's completely up to the attackers. The umpire does not get involved with that coaching decision.